Well, welcome to Go Ballistic. The Scottish Suns look back at another incredible weekend of Premiership action. I'm Roger Hannah, with me, Sun Sports' Kris Boyd. Boyd, a busy day for you yesterday in Edinburgh Derby, then Celtic winning at Motherwell. I was at Ibrox to see your old Rangers team sort of stutter past St Mirren. Have you caught up on the highlights?
Yeah, I've seen the highlights. I think you've just summed it up perfectly there. Stutter past St Mirren. I thought, listen, it's 3 points, and sometimes that's all you need. But you go from the performance last Sunday to the performance on Thursday night, and you think, okay, what's Sunday going to be like? But I mean, it was more of the same in terms of what it's been like in recent weeks in Scottish football for Rangers. I thought once again slow in the build up. That there wasn't much. What would you say? Threat. They had a couple of chances later on, but I mean, it's got to be better. I've yet to be convinced by Robin proper, and again, taking off yesterday, and looking at it. I mean, when he was going off the pitch, was probably the fastest he's ran all day.
I disagree with you. I'm convinced by Robin Proper. I'm convinced he's absolutely not good enough for the centre of the Rangers defence. I thought centre half time.
Roger, it would be a worry though. You've got to say that would be a worry though, because that was someone who Philip Clement probably looked at and thought was going to be a replacement for Conor Golson. And I get the fact that everybody and Philip Clement has said that it'll take time. He's now you could argue that it's John Souttar and Leon Balogun as his centre-back pairing now. But it's got to be. For me, it is.
It finished yesterday with Casemiro and next to Balogun, and that looked far better placed to deal with the threat of Toyosi Olasanya. There looked more pace there when Casemiro went inside. He looks a versatile defender. John Souttar didn't play, down to medical and conditioning staff saying he wasn't in a position to play. Rangers have a big schedule coming up. Aberdeen on Wednesday night, Motherwell in a cup semi-final at Hampden on Sunday. There's more European games. There's a trip to Olympiacos coming up. You wonder how Philip Clement, how well placed he is to rotate that squad when there are so many players out. Because first half yesterday, when he left out Dessers and Tavernier, they were ordinary, Kris.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you look at especially James Tavernier, when he's been there for that long, and everybody. You become bored, don't you? Fans, you want to see new players, but sometimes you need to appreciate what you've got. And James Tavernier is still an asset for Rangers Football Club. What he gives you in that right-hand side, listen, he's always going to have his faults defensively. That's never going to change in his makeup now. But what he gives you going forward, nobody else does that in the Rangers team. I think if Souttar makes it, he's been Rangers' best player probably this season. I don't think there's many would argue with that. But the left-hand side, as I said, going back to Leon Balogun, and it's not a criticism of Leon Balogun. He's left the football club, he's come back, and there's a potential there for him to be, John Souttar's partner going forward. Casemiro, as you said, went in there, at the weekend, done okay. But the Robin Proper one for me would be a worry, because it is another new signing that doesn't look to be working out. It just doesn't look to be happening for him. Vastly experienced in terms of the Dutch league, and but I always think to myself, if you're 29-year-old and you've been in the Netherlands all your days, because we all know it is a country that as soon as you've made your debut, and there's always big teams looking at you and you want to get you out. For me, this move, I have to say it just doesn't look as if it's improved Rangers in that central defence area. But I mean, going forward, Czerny with another goal, and a really good goal at that as well. I think that it was a tight enough finish. Then obviously the run from Dessers to down the left hand side and cuts it back, and Czerny gets it in. Czerny had the little chance after that as well, and Bajrami there looks at glances on Roger. I don't know what you think of that as well. I look at Bajrami and I think to myself, is he? I know he's out there right now because Rangers don't have a left winger as such, or something that can play. I think he'd be more suited as in the 10. I think he likes to go on the ball.
There were flashes, probably from all of the front six. There was flashes from Czerny. You spoke about. He scored a goal. He got a great save from Ellery Balcom. There were flashes from Dessers in the closing stages after he did so well to set up the goal. There were flashes from Bajrami. He worked hard to recover the ball for the first goal. Got back on the ball, teed up, asking for the shot. It was deflected. The goalie saves. Diomande scores. There were flashes from Diomande in that number 10 role in the early stages that maybe hinted he could have a future, further on in the team. But it just didn't ever seem to knit together, as Rangers fans would have wanted. And it's difficult to see, how long it will take to knit together, because you know yourself, Rangers don't get time. If they slip up at Pittodrie or they slip up at Hampden, it's crisis time again.
100%. I mean, I look at, obviously, Aberdeen game, and you look at it. It's a massive, massive game on Wednesday night for Rangers. I mean, I know he came on yesterday, but do you get Stirling into the starting lineup on Wednesday?
It's difficult to see where you get him in. I would have Tavernier back in. I would have Dessers back in. If he's fit and the sports science people allow him to play, I would certainly have Suter back. Fascinating to see what does he involve Hadji on the bench now. He's free from suspension again. Where's Danilo? Scored for the B team in the cup last midweek, not seen in the squad at the weekend, and that was a squad with a lot of youngsters on the bench as well, Kris. So Philip Clement's got a lot of questions to answer. I don't see where he fits Sterling into the team. I know he's got him a new 4-year contract. I know he's done well in the past, particularly against Aberdeen, actually. You think back to the League Cup final last year, the Premier Sports Cup final at Hampden. I don't see where he fits in just now.
I mean, is there an argument to, have, do you move Jeffy up one and maybe put Sterling at left back, or Casemiro at left back and move Jeffy up one and bring Bajrami, into the 10 position as such? It might be something, that Rangers do. I think doing that would give you a more solid base, because there's one thing, I know we'll touch on Celtic in a minute, but there's one thing, if we go back to Saturday, I mean, Aberdeen are just grinding out results, Roger. And again, I mean, for Jimmy Tillane, he brings Peter Ambrose on. 2 minutes later, he's got the ball in the back of the net, winning goal. I mean, everything he seems to be doing right now at Pittodrie is turning to gold dust.
The thing, you look back at the draw they got from 2-0 down at half-time at Celtic Park. He made changes. He sent on Duke and Esther Sokler, and they made the difference to get back to 2-2. He starts with Duke and Esther Sokler against United. Doesn't particularly work, but he changed 5 of his front 6. He kept going. He didn't settle for a 0-0 for the point that would have taken him top. He wanted the 3 point, and somehow he's getting a tune out of guys that you didn't really expect him to get a tune out of. Shaden Morris was brilliant when he came on in the second half. And Peter Ambrose, you think Peter Ambrose at the start of the season, he's probably been behind Miovski and Duke and Sokler and Nisbet and Guy right through the season. Yeah. And on he comes and he scores the goal.
Yeah, but I think that tells you, I think looking at it right now, and probably the best way to sum it up would be Aberdeen are everything that Rangers aren't at this moment in time. There's a togetherness there. There's everybody working for each another. They're grinding out results. And it just looks, it looks as if it's a good environment to be in. The fans are all buzzing, the manager's buzzing, the staff's buzzing, the players are buzzing. I mean, it would be, a good place to be right now for some.
It was interesting. I heard a colleague ask Philip Clement last night if he felt Aberdeen were in the title race. I think it's a more pertinent question for Jimmy Tillane tomorrow. Does he think Rangers are in the title race?
Well, look, I mean, I think when you look at when you look at the way that it's panned out, Celtic obviously back to winning ways at Fir Park, and Aberdeen back to winning ways as well. Rangers the same, back to winning ways. But you've got to say, going into this game, the way that both teams have been performing, you would have to have Aberdeen as favourites, just because the environment you're going to turn up under the likes of Pittodrie. There's been questions of Rangers in terms of their mentality and that strength of character to go and get results. And I'm not sure there is enough people in that Rangers team to go and take this game to Aberdeen. I think, listen, if Rangers get ahead, there's players in there that will, want the ball and make things happen after that. But if they go behind, it would be a worry for me. It would be a worry. So I think that Philip Clement has got, he will find out. He found out a lot about his team, or everybody else found out a lot about his team last Sunday when you were given an opportunity to get back into a league title. Didn't take it. Wednesday, it is. I mean, I know it's early in the season, and must wins it's easy to chuck out there, but I don't think it's one Rangers can afford to lose. Put it that way.
Talking about changes, Rangers rotated a lot of players. Celtic, they made changes as well. Callum McGregor missing out at Motherwell yesterday with a adductor injury, should be back for the Premier Sports Cup semi-final against Aberdeen at the weekend, Saturday night game. Few changes as well around about the team. No Arnie Engels from the start. Adam Ida back on the bench. That's £20 million worth of talent left out along with the captain yesterday. And yet, Celtic go to even the top six. They win 3-0. Luke McCowan starts, scores. Alistair Johnston gets the captain's armband for the first time, scores, and Ida comes off the bench and scores. The added bonus being Cameron Carter-Vickers is well off the bench late on.
And Greg Taylor on the bench as well.
Yeah, it's looking good for Brendan Rodgers at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously he would have been disappointed. You look at Brendan Rodgers, he wants to win everything, he wants to win every game. And I think that the Aberdeen game, he would have been disappointed with the outcome in that. I mean, I know he needs to come out and put on a brave face, but, you're 2-0 up at home and end up 2-2. And, he kind of talks it down a little bit, in terms of the end result. But he would be pleased yesterday, as you say. You mentioned everybody there, but I thought, Luke McCowan came in and controlled that area in the middle of the pitch. Callum McGregor's a huge miss, but I like Luke McCowan. I've always liked him as a player. I thought at Dundee he was excellent, and he's, we touched on it yesterday as well. I think because he's grew up a fan of the club and he understands the pressure it demands, he will know some of the players anyway before going there, and he's took to a duck like to water. I thought his goal yesterday, yeah, he gets a little bit lucky, but as soon as he gets beyond, the Motherwell midfield, gets his strike away through Liam Gordon's legs and gives goalkeeper absolutely no chance. Great finish, to be honest. And Alistair Johnston, yeah, I mean, Alistair Johnston is one of these ones that he just gives you, he's just a 7 out of 10 every single week. He just gives you a consistently, week in, week out. And, he's someone who, when you go back a few years and you think of, Lustig, you think of Juranovic, and then, he's came in, you've got to look at it and say I think he's better than the two of them as well. I really do. I think for a period of time, football's changed and Lustig was more, as a defender in Brendan Rodgers' first time there. Juranovic, got up and down, and but there was frailties in Juranovic's game, shall we say? But I don't really see any in Alistair Johnston's, and obviously adding goals now as well. But I think for Celtic, they were in a comfortable enough yesterday. Adam Ida left for part last night in a boot. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. It was a bad tackle. I don't know if you've seen it. It was a bad tackle from Liam Gordon. Obviously get sent off, but with Ida leaving a boot, that would be a little bit of a worry for Celtic, because if there is one area where they might be a little bit short, it is in that central role. Obviously Kyogo Maeda could go in there as well, but Ida came on, got his goal. But I must say as well, and I know Celtic were really good within the game, but I have to mention him, Lennon Miller, Roger. I don't know how. Yesterday was really I ended up, focusing on him and watching a lot of his, and I know this, even in his own box with, little headers down when he's clearing it in terms of picking out his teammates, not just heading it away. He's just so cut. He just looks so mature for his age. He's passing. Do
you expect Celtic to sign him in January after a performance like that?
I'll be honest with you, Roger. I think he's probably looking at, and no disrespect to Rangers and Celtic in terms of Scottish football, I think he's looking bigger than that now. I really do. And there's no reason why. I look at the clubs that will be interested. There's been a lot of Scottish football gets a bad rep sometimes, and people are quite quick to dismiss it. But I think if you look at especially Lennon Miller, he is one hell of a talented kid. As I said, he's passing, and he seems so level-headed as well, Roger. Nothing seems to faze him.
Yeah, he is level-headed. His father's level-headed as well, looks after him. I've always wondered, when you see Aaron Hickey going to Serie A, Lewis Ferguson, Josh Doig getting over there, and all succeeding, all doing well. There are people in Italian football, looking at Scott Gilmour's there, McTominay's there, Che Adams is there now. I always wondered if maybe one of the big Italian teams might come in and look at Lennon Miller, because he might have a style of play suited to that league.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's German clubs arriving the scene, and let's not be kidded. When you look at this kid and what he brings to a game of football, I wouldn't be surprised if even the big ones down the road are looking at him as well, Roger. I think he's exceptional. He's passing, his awareness, and he never seems flustered. Even when there's people around him, he just looks as if he's, that old head on young shoulders, basically. Even his body position, the way he receives it, the way he gets his body in to protect the ball from, the opposition. I mean, even yesterday, I know he get beat. The team get beat 3-0, but he hit the bar with the free kick. Was very unlucky. He had that lovely strike from the edge of the box, but he's passing. His awareness of what's around him and the situation, when to up it in terms of the tempo, passing sharp, short and sharp, or when just to try and calm it down. And again, against in there against Hatate, against Bernardo, against Luke McCowan, where we're saying the three of them are top players, really, really good players, but he didn't look out of place in there.
It shows what you can learn off our pal Andy Halliday and that Motherwell midfield body, doesn't it? Boys picking up all this talent.
Well, I believe Lennon did kick the ball out the park once, so that would be one thing he's got from Andy.
You look at this full card on Wednesday night. Rangers are at Pittodrie. Celtic have a home game against Dundee. Is this the first time you can remember, Boydie, where Celtic will be looking for Rangers to win at Pittodrie to give them a little bit of breathing space at the top?
I don't think Celtic will want Rangers to win anywhere, to be honest. Even at Pittodrie, I think they'll still fancy themselves to go in, to win the league. The fans did get a little bit excited in the stands yesterday, the Celtic fans. I mean, it had come through that Olasanya, I think, had scored before it got chopped off, but they get a little excited, and I got my usual stick from them, but they were sitting down pretty quickly just after that, Roger. But listen, I think that when you look at, I think Celtic obviously will pick up the 3 points against Dundee. Not only that, though, you're looking at, I think, a lot of the games during the week as well, and a lot of teams can start to put a little gap between the others, depending on what way the results go, and that could be crucial. There's a lot of big games, but if we get back on yesterday, I thought the Edinburgh derby, I mean, some of the performances in that game was as bad as I've seen. I mean, I know they actually looked like two teams that were 11th and 12th in the league. And
they're there for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you look at and then Hibs get themselves ahead. And I think from Hearts' point of view, they've played Thursday night, they've went to their rivals, they've came away, not lost the game. Hibs get themselves ahead. Kukarevic, good striker's goal, I must add, getting in and around and finishing it. Then Triantis had the chance just after that. He's got to score for me. But you look at, I mean, David Gray must be, he must be sitting there on the training field thinking to himself, what more have I got to do? Because the great chances.
At no stage did you think Hibs were going to hold out to a 1-0 win yesterday. At no stage. I hadn't seen them at Tannadice lose 2 goals in added time the week before. The last home game, I think, was Motherwell, where they blew it, they get back in the game, and Trantis was sent off, they lost a goal, lost a home to Motherwell. You knew Hearts were going to equalise. You could just tell Hearts were going to equalise in that game.
By the way, and could have nicked it after as well. That little chance at the end. I must add, James Wilson, what a goal. Good movement from the young kid. Anticipates it coming in the way he does and gets across.
17 years of age, absolutely terrific.
That awareness, and it just looks so mature in terms of the finish as well. Didn't slash it, just got his his foot over it and got it in the back of the net. But I mean, you go back to that though. I mean, Alan Forrest wins the header at the front post. I mean, it just can't happen. I mean, from a Hibs point of view, it's a derby. It's so soft. Then all of a sudden the ball comes in, and then they get the second touch on it as well. Hibs, Hearts before, and then it goes in the back of the net. But for Hibs, I mean, and I touched on it yesterday. The managers keep getting the blame at Easter Road. The culture needs to change. The whole culture. There is a softness right through that football club.